It's Jess. I am here today to talk about Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, or Rowell. I'm not really sure how you say it. But this book is so amazing. I actually finished this book a couple hours before 2014 ended, and oh my gosh, it is so good. I cannot believe how good it is. I'm going to recommend it to everyone, anyone that I know who might like horribly heartbreaking contemporary story. That was one thing I was surprised by. So this story is so sad. Not just like the ending isn't even the saddest part. It's just what happens during the story is just really sad. So if you're going on an adventure with Eleanor and Park, be prepared to be a little emotional. Okay? But I love this book so much. I love it. I love it. It is so good. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and one thing that I just could not get over, that I absolutely loved, was how true, like how real and raw the inner monologue was, especially Eleanor's inner monologue. There's a lot of stuff that she complains about and talks about that I think a lot of girls and women can really relate to. I also think that Rainbow Rowell did a phenomenal job of capturing the 80s, capturing the grunge, and also the attitudes of the 80s. I'd like to think that most schools are different now. But in this book, it's very much what you would imagine out of a John Cusack movie. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. If you're planning on reading Eleanor and Park and you don't want things ruined, turn off the video, walk away. This is your warning because you're about to get into spoiler territory because I want to talk more about the actual book. The family dynamics, I think both when you look at Eleanor's family and Park's family, I think the juxtaposition of the two of them were phenomenal. I think it's interesting that Eleanor's family is very hostile, very walk on eggshells kind of an environment. And then you look at Park's family where his parents just like exude affection. And while they might not have like the perfect 60s family relationship, Park's dad doesn't really see Park as the penultimate son. He kind of thinks he's kind of a wimp, a little girly. When the kids beg Eleanor to take them with her when she goes to visit Park, it's just heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking. One thing that was like a jaw drop moment for me was when she came home that night and found all the stuff broken on her bed the night before she ran away. And she found out that the writing on all her books was actually Richie, her stepfather. I was just like, what? Wow. Like how awful of a person do you have to be to write that kind of stuff on a teenage girl's book? It's just terrible. It's terrible. I was really surprised when Park's father told him to take the truck. Also, I think it was Rainbow Rowell's effort at like a slight comedic touch in a very, very tense situation. The fact that he said, you can go, you can drive her all the way out there, but you have to take the truck, which means he has to drive stick shift while his father's watching, but not while he's there. And sure as he says throughout the whole entire book, he can do it and he's perfectly fine with it, and he just can't have his dad there. And I think that's something that's very relatable, and that's why I love this book the most, is that so much of it was relatable. Just so much of it was like, I've been there, I know someone who's been there, I get it, I've experienced it, or I have had a close friend who's experienced it, and we get it. Few of us in this day and age are lucky enough to go through life without meeting someone who doesn't have a terrible family situation. And unfortunately, it's just that maybe people talk about it more now than they used to, but it's something that really hits home with a lot of us. This book almost made me cry. I got a little choked up and almost got to that, like, well, I did get to that, like, oh my gosh, teary-eyed stage, especially when Park keeps writing Eleanor after she's gone and keeps writing and just nothing. She sends nothing back. And you just feel so terrible for him. You're just like, this poor kid. I mean, she doesn't understand, but she is to him what he really was to her, that pentultimate, that freedom, that chance to get away. And so it's really sad when she doesn't send him anything back. And thank you, Rainbow Rowell, for putting that last bit in there. Like, the last line is, Eleanor hadn't written him a letter. It was a postcard, just 3 words long. And that, to me, just made it so much better. It made the ending a lot less terrible, a lot less sad. So it was sad to see them pulled apart, but you could hang on to that glimmer of hope that, you know, they could get back together. They were both in high school. They both are going to college soon. They're both moving on. Even if they don't go to college, they're moving on to a later time in their life when they move out of their parents' house and become adults. And it's that hope that's really nice, because this is a very sad book and it's full of a lot of emotion, and it's nice to know that maybe they both will have that happy ending. And so that's my review of Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. Also, I love the simplicity of the cover. I think that's great. I also did a full blog review, so if you want to check that out, I'll link it down below. The next book I'm reading, I'm skipping the TBR jar because I am borrowing a book, and I hate to be that person who hangs on to a book for way too long. A book does not take 6 months to read. A book does not take a year to read. At most, I think when you borrow a book, if it's not a massive book, it should take a month or less. So, I am reading the third in the Mercy Thompson series, Iron Kiss. Let's just appreciate this absolutely disgusting cover. God, Patricia Briggs. What the hell are you thinking? These are terrible. I can't read this in public. I can't read this on the train to work. That's a tattoo. It probably looks like a huge thong, but it's a tattoo, and you can't even tell, and the cover's just so terrible. But this is the third in the Mercy Thompson series, and the Mercy Thompson series is about Mercy Thompson. Mercy Thompson is a mechanic who is also involved in a lot of supernatural stuff in the Tri-City, Washington area. It's really good. I really like it. I think they're fantastic, and I highly recommend them. I am pretty much like a little over halfway through this book, so it should be done definitely by tomorrow night, and I will put up a review this weekend and pull a book out of the TBR jar. Super excited to get more of that TBR done. And that is what I have today. Please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!